Stage 6, paragraph page 479. Okay, stage 6, 479. And our last head word was pen, newer type of lesson. Okay,
Yes.
so let's start with revision. Ready?
Well, okay.
Here we go. What are the three forms of run? What are the three forms of run? The three
The
forms
three
of run
forms of run
are run,
is
ran,
run,
run.
run, run.
Very good. What's the furthest you've ever run? What's the furthest you've ever run? The furthest
The
I've
farthest
ever
I've
run
ever
is
run is 3 kilometers.
very good. What does the verb to grow mean in Japanese? What does the verb to grow mean in Japanese? The verb
The
to
verb
grow
to
means.
grow means, so that's in Japanese.
Very good. What are the three forms of growth? What are the three forms of growth? The three
The
forms
three
of grow
forms of
are
grow
grow,
are
grew,
grow,
grown.
grew, grown.
At about what age does the average person stop growing physically? At about what age does the average person stop growing physically? The average
The
person
average
stops
person
growing
of,
physically
of growing physically
at about the
at about the
age of.
age of 20 years old.
Very good. If you grew tired, what did you do? If you grew tired, what did you do? If I grew
If I
tired,
grew
I go
tired,
to bed
I go to
and
bed
sleep
and
or
sleep
sit down and
or
rest.
sit down and rest.
Right? What kind of food is grown most of all in your part of the world? What kind of food is grown most of all in your part of the world? The kind of food
The kind of
that's
food
grown
that
most of
grown
all
most of
in
all
my part of
in my
town
part of town
is
is rice.
very good. What does the word matter mean in Japanese? What does the word matter mean in Japanese? The word
The
matter
word
means
water means water means
mondai in Japanese.
um uh,
Mondai
Monday in
in
Japanese.
Japanese. Very good. What kind of matter is this book made of? What kind of matter is this book made of? That book
That
is
book
made of
is
paper.
it made of paper.
Very good. Do you think that the possibility of another world war is a serious matter? Do you think that the possibility of another world war is a serious matter? Yes, I think
Yes, I
that the
think that
possibility
the
of
possibility
another
of
world war
another world war
is a serious
is
matter.
a serious matter.
Right? Are you interested in political matters? Are you interested in political matters? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'm
I'm
interested
interested
in political
in
matters.
political matters.
Very good. How long do you expect to continue living in the place where you live now? How long do you expect to continue living in the place where you live now? I expect to
I
continue
expect to
living
continue
in the
living
place
in the
where I
place
live now
where I live
for
now
about
for about 5 years,
5 more years.
5 more years.
In a Callan Method lesson, do you expect the teacher to correct the student's mistakes? In a Callan Method lesson, do you expect the teacher to correct the student's mistakes? Yes. In a
Yes,
Callan Method
in
lesson,
Callan Method
I
lesson,
expect the
I
teacher
expected the
to
teacher
correct the
to
student's
correct the
mistakes.
students' mistakes.
Very good. What do we use a tell or when do we use a tell question? When do we use a tell question? We use
We
a
use
tell
a
question
tail
when
question
we believe
when we
something
believe
is true
something is
and
true
we want
and
somebody
we want
to
somebody
confirm
to
that we are
confirm
right.
that we are right.
How do we form a tell question? How do we form a tell question? We form a
We
tell
form a
question
tail
by
question
repeating
by
the first
repeating
auxiliary verb,
a first auxiliary
auxiliary
verb
verb from the main part
from the main
of the
part of
sentence
the
and
sentence
putting it
and putting
in
it
question form.
in question form.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. He is going to go
He's
out
going
tonight,
to go out
isn't
tonight,
he?
isn't he?
Very good. Okay, now I will say something and I want you to repeat it and add a tail question. Remember
Okay.
that if the main part of the sentence is positive, the tail question is negative and vice
Hmm.
versa. Okay, number one, he's a young man. He's a young man. He's a young man.
He's a young
Isn't he?
man, isn't he?
He isn't a young man. He isn't a young man. He isn't a
He
young man.
isn't a young
Is he?
man. Is he?
You've got a very nice kitchen. You've got a very nice kitchen. You've got a very
You've
nice
got a
kitchen.
very nice kitchen,
Haven't you?
haven't you?
You haven't got a very nice kitchen. You haven't got a very nice kitchen. You haven't got
You
a
haven't
very
got
nice
a
kitchen.
very nice
Have you?
kitchen, Have you?
You can sing. You can sing. You can sing. Can't you? You can sing.
You can sing,
Can't you?
can't you?
You can't sing. You can't sing. You can't sing.
You can't
Can you?
sing, can you?
He'll be afraid. He'll be afraid. He'll be afraid.
He'll be
Won't
afraid,
he?
won't he?
He won't be afraid. He won't be afraid. He won't be
He
afraid.
won't be
Will
afraid,
he?
will he?
They would be hungry. They would be hungry. They would be
They
hungry.
would be hungry,
Wouldn't they?
wouldn't they?
They wouldn't be hungry. They wouldn't be hungry. They wouldn't be
They
hungry.
wouldn't be
Would
hungry,
they?
would they?
When there is no auxiliary verb in the main part of the sentence, which verb do we use in the tell question? When there is no auxiliary verb in the main part of the sentence, which verb do we use in the tell question? When there is no
When there is
auxiliary
no
verb
auxiliary
in the
verb
main part
in the
of the
main part
sentence,
of the
we
sentence,
use do
we use
in the
to
tell
in
question.
the tell question.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. They come every
They come
Thursday,
every
don't
Thursday,
they?
don't they?
If you had the right by law to do whatever you wish, what did you do? If you have the right by law to do whatever you wished, what did you do? If I had
If
the
I
right by
had
law
a right by
to
law
do whatever I
to do
wished,
whatever I wish,
I'd,
I'd I'd go to
well,
I'd go to other countries
for free.
for free.
Very good. Do newspapers have the legal right to print stories that aren't true? Do newspapers have the legal right to print stories that aren't true? No.
No,
Newspapers don't have
newspapers
the
don't
legal
have
right
the legal
to print
right
stories
to print
that
stories
aren't true.
that aren't true.
Greg, what's the difference between the words on and onto? What's the difference between the words on and onto? The difference
The
between
difference
the
between
words
the
on
word
and
on
onto
and on
is
to
that we
is
can
that
use
we
the
can
word
use
on
the word
for
on
things that
for
are
things
moving
that
or
are
still,
moving or still,
whereas we
whereas
can use
we
the
can
word
use the
onto
word
only
onto
for things
only
that
for
are
things
moving.
that are moving.
Greg, do you think you could jump onto the table with both your feet together? Do you think you could jump onto the table with both your feet together? Yes or no?
No,
I
I
don't think
I don't
I
think
could jump
I could
onto the
jump
table
onto the
with
table
both my feet
with both my
together.
feet together.
Have you ever tried to do something like that? Have you ever tried to do something like that? Yes or no?
Yes,
I've tried to do
I've tried to
something
do
like
something
that.
like that.
Very good. Do you know how to tie a tie? Do you know how to tie a tie? Yes or no?
No,
I
I
don't know
I don't
how
know
to tie a
how to
tie.
tie a tie.
In the past, was the government of a country generally elected by the people? In the past, was the government of a country generally elected by the people? No. In the
No,
past,
in the
the
past,
government of a
the
country
government of a country
wasn't generally
wasn't
elected
generally
by
elected
the people.
by the people.
Very good. What does the structure to have something done communicate? What does the structure to have something done communicate? The structure
The
to have
structure
something
to
done
have something done
communicates that we
communicates
don't do
that we
the
don't do
actions
the
ourselves,
actions of
but that
ourselves,
somebody
but
else
that somebody
does it
else
for us.
does it for us.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I don't cut
I
my
don't cut
hair myself.
my hair
I
myself.
have my hair cut
I have my hair
by a
cut
hairdresser.
by a hairdresser.
Do you clean your shoes yourself or do you have them cleaned by someone else? Do you clean your shoes yourself or do you have them cleaned by someone else? I don't. I
I
clean
don't
my
I
shoes
clean my
myself.
shoes myself.
Ragged, what can we use instead of the verb to have? What can we use instead of the verb to have? We can use
We
the
can
verb
use
to get
the verb to get
instead of
instead
the
of
verb to have.
the verb to have.
Ragged, do very young children sometimes get their homework done for them by their parents? Do very young children sometimes get their homework done for them by their parents? Yes. Very
Yes,
young children
very young children
sometimes get their
sometimes
homework
get their
done
homework
for
done
them by their
for them
parents.
by their parents.
Do you think governments generally have too much power? Do you think governments generally have too much power? Yes or no?
Uh, no,
I don't think
I don't
Governments
think governments
generally have
generally
too
have
much power.
too much power.
Right? Who do you think is the most powerful person in your country? Who do you think is the most powerful person in your country? I think
I think I
the
think
prime minister
the prime
is
minister
the most
is the most
powerful person
powerful
in
person
my country.
in my country.
Very good. Do laptops use more power than desktop computers? Do laptops use more power than desktop computers? No.
No,
Laptops don't use
laptops don't
more
use
power
more
than
power
desktop
than
computers.
desktop computers.
Very good. Do you spend all your money or do you try to save some and put it in the bank? Do you spend all your money or do you try to save some and put it in the bank? I don't spend
I don't
all my
spend
money.
all my
I try
money.
to save
I
some
try to save
and put
some
it in the bank.
and put it in the bank.
But if you saw someone in difficulty in the sea, how would you try to save their life? If you saw someone in difficulty in the sea, how would you try to save their life? If I saw
If
someone
I saw
in
somebody
difficulty in the
in
sea,
difficulty in the
I'd
sea,
try to save
I
their
try
life
to save their life
by
by uh, by
by by throwing a
by
lifesaver.
drawing a lifesaver.
Very good. What does an old man carry to save himself from falling over while walking? What does an old man carry to save himself from falling over while walking? An old man
An old
carries a
man
walking
carries
stick
a walking
to save
stick
himself
to save
from
himself
falling over while
from falling
walking.
over while walking.
Would you save any time if you use a different means of transport to come to school? Would you save any time if you use a different means of transport to come to school? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'd save some
I'd
time
save some time
if I use
if I
a
use
different
a
means of
different means
transport
of
to come to
transport
school.
to come to school.
Very good. When you close a computer program, does it usually remind you to save your work first? When you close a computer program, does it usually remind you to save your work first? Yes. When I
Yes,
close
when I
a
close
computer
a
program,
computer program,
it usually reminds
it
me
usually
to
reminds
save
me
my work
to
first.
save my work first.
Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word.
Okay,
Okay, repeat it. Trade,
trade,
tradesman,
tradesman,
skill,
skill,
bake,
bake,
baker,
baker,
butcher,
butcher,
builder.
builder,
Very good. Okay, listen. Trade is a verb. It means to give something in exchange for something else. For example, my country mainly trades in dried mangoes, sugar, etc. Tradesman is a noun. It is someone who works at a job or trade that involves skills with your hands. Some examples of tradesmen are baker, builders, electricians, etc. Skill is a noun. It is an ability to do something well, especially because you have learned and practiced it. For example, many jobs require computer skills. Bake is a verb. It is to cook something using dry heat in an oven. For example, I like baking breads and cakes. Baker is someone who bakes bread and cakes, especially in order to sell them in a shop. For example, my aunt bakes cake very well. She's a very good baker. Butcher is a noun. It is someone who owns or works in a shop that sells meat. Builder is a noun. It is a person or company that builds or repairs things. For example, I need to get the builder to repair the wall of my house. Let's practice. What kind of things does your country mainly trade in? What kind of things does your country mainly trade in? My country
my country
mainly trades in
mainly
cars.
trades
One,
cars.
one more. My country
My country
mainly trades in
mainly trades
cars.
in cars.
Very good. Okay, next listen. By a trade, we usually mean a job that a person does mainly with their hands and for which they need special skills. Some examples of tradesmen are baker, butcher, builder, etc. Let's practice. What do we usually mean by a trade? What do you usually mean by a trade? By a trade,
By a
we
trade,
usually mean
we
a
usually
job
means a
that a
job
person does
that a person does
mainly with their
mainly
hands
with a hand
and for which
and for
they
which
need a special
they need
skill.
a special skill.
What's one of the best paid trades in your country? What's one of the best paid trades in your country? One of the best
One of the
paid
best
trades in
paid
my
trades
country
in my
is a
country
builder.
is a builder.
Very good. Next, repeat clothes.
Clothes,
Clothes.
clothes.
Very good. Okay, listen. The difference between the words close and close is that close with a Z, close is a verb meaning shut, whereas close with an S is an adjective meaning near. For example, I'm closing my hand. The closest I've ever been to real danger was when I was almost hit by a car. Let's practice. What's the difference between the words close and close? What's the difference between the words close and close? The difference
The
between
difference
the
between
words
the
close
word
and
close
close
and
is
close
that close
is that
is a
close
verb
is a verb
meaning shut,
meaning shop,
whereas close
whereas
is
close
an adjective
is an adjective
meaning near.
meaning ear.
What's the closest you've ever been to real danger? What's the closest you've ever been to real danger? The closest
The
I've ever
closest
been
I've ever
to real
been
danger
to real danger
was when I was
was when
almost
I
hit
was almost
by a
hit
car.
by a car.
By a car.
By a car.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Trip.
Trip.
Fortnight.
Fortnight.
Very good. Okay, listen. A trip is a journey to a place and back again. For example, a business trip, a trip to the shops, a trip around the world, etc. Fortnight is a noun. It is a period of 14 days or 2 weeks. For example, a fortnight's holiday. So it means a 2 week holiday.
Mhm.
Let's practice. If you went on a trip to New York, what would you see? If you went on a trip to New York, what would you see? If I went
If I
on a trip
went
to New
on a trip
York,
to New
I'd see
York,
the
I'd
Statue of
see the
Liberty,
Statue of Liberty,
Madison Square Garden,
Madison Square Garden,
etc.
etc.
Very good. When people go on business trips, do their companies usually pay for everything? When people go on business trips, do their companies usually pay for everything? Yes. When people
Yes,
go
when people
on
go
business trips,
on business
their
trips,
companies
their
usually
companies
pay for
usually
everything.
pay for everything.
Which would you prefer, an exciting trip to a big city for the weekend or a quiet fortnight on the beach? Which would you prefer, an exciting trip to a big city for the weekend or a quiet fortnight on the beach? I'd prefer
I prefer
big
I
city or beach?
prefer big big city
Big city. I'd
big
prefer
big
an
city
exciting
beach.
trip.
I'm exciting.
Trip.
Sorry, an
Which
exciting trip
would you like? To the big city or to the beach?
to the beach.
Very good. One more. I'd prefer
I
a
prefer
quiet
a
fortnight
quiet
on the
fortnight
beach
on the beach
than an
than
exciting
an
trip
exciting
to a
trip
big city
to a big
for the
city
weekend.
for the weekend.
Very good. Okay, next. Every now and again. One more. Every
Everyone,
now and
every
again.
now and again.
Very good. Okay, listen. Every now and again means every once in a while or occasionally. Not every day, every time, but occasionally. For example, it's a good idea to give one's house a thorough cleaning from top to bottom every now and again. Let's practice. What does the expression every now and again mean in Japanese? What does the expression every now and again mean in Japanese? The expression
The
every
expression
now and
every
again
now and
again
again
means
means means
tokidoki in Japanese.
tokidoki in Japanese.
Very good. Is it a good idea to give one's house a thorough cleaning from top to bottom every now and again? Is it a good idea to give one's house a thorough cleaning from top to bottom every now and again? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes,
It's a good idea
it's a good
to
idea
give one's
to
house
give one's
a
house
thorough cleaning
a solo
from
cleaning
top to bottom
from top to bottom
every now and again.
every now and again.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading.
Okay,
Okay, so our reading is at stage 5, paragraph page 360. Okay, and our last head word was reflexive pronoun. Okay, start with the second question. When do we use a reflexive pronoun?
okay. When do we use a reflexive pronoun? We use a reflexive pronoun when the subject and object are the same person of things
Or
or
things?
things.
Mhm.
Is it right to say I looked at me in the mirror? No, it isn't right to say I looked at me in the mirror. Why not? Because the subject and object are the same person. What must we say instead? We must say I looked at myself in the mirror instead. Do you think it'd be easy for to teach myself Chinese? No, no, I don't think for you. I don't. I don't think it'd be easy for you
Chinese.
to teach yourself Chinese.
Hmm.
Why not? Because uh,
Because
because
Chinese.
Chinese is a difficult language to learn.
Hmm.
Did you wash yourself when you were a baby? No, I don't wash myself
I
when
didn't wash.
I I didn't wash myself when I was a baby. My mother washed me. What do you if you
One
saw
more.
a
What did
man?
you do?
What do you do if you saw a man trying to kill himself? If I saw if
A man.
if
If
I
I
saw
saw a man trying
a
to.
man trying to kill himself, I'd try to stop him or call the police. Have you ever seen a bird washing itself? Yes, I've seen a bird washing itself. Do you think uh, one
One
can
can
teach
teach
one can teach oneself a language?
language.
No, I don't
One.
think one can teach oneself a language.
Hmm.
What do we carry to protect ourselves from the rain? We carry an umbrella to protect
Protect.
ourselves from the rain.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, I've done my textbook.
Hmm.
Um, okay, throw,
More.
throw,
Sorrow.
sorrowy. What does the word sorrow mean? The word sorrow means uh, complete. Uh, in which season of the year do people generally give their
Houses.
houses thorough cleaning? People generally give their house a thoroughly cleaning in spring. If you jumped in the if you jumped
Into the
into
sea.
the sea, would you get thoroughly wet? Yes. If I jumped into the sea, I'd get thoroughly wet. What kind of things make you thoroughly tired? The kind of things that
That
make
make me
that make me thoroughly tired